Have you ever felt like the more deeply you think, the more distant you feel from others? Like your thoughts stretch beyond the conversation, beyond the room, beyond what most people are even willing to consider. You're not imagining it. Society has always found a way to turn away from those who think too deeply, not because they're wrong, but because they unsettle the familiar. Throughout history, the minds that questioned too much, saw too far, or asked the wrong kind of questions have often been silenced, ignored, or cast out. Why? Because deep thinkers are not just observers, they're mirrors, and mirrors make people uncomfortable. When you meet someone stronger, you may respect their strength. When you see someone wealthy, you might envy their success. But when you meet someone who sees reality more clearly than you, suddenly it feels personal. This isn't arrogance, it's psychology. Psychologists call it intellectual threat. A deep thinker doesn't just bring new ideas, they disrupt mental comfort zones, and people would rather defend their illusions than welcome clarity. Unlike muscles or money, intelligence challenges the core of who we are, our beliefs, our values, our assumptions. That's why deep thinkers aren't merely different, they're dangerous to the norm. The deeper your awareness, the heavier the silence around you becomes. You notice things others overlook. You ask questions that disrupt the flow. And while others chase comfort, you chase truth, even if it hurts. This isn't a flaw, it's a feature of a seeking mind. But this pursuit comes at a cost. Loneliness, rejection, misunderstanding. Not because you're broken, but because most people aren't ready to think that deeply. In fact, group settings make this worse. Studies show that individuals are more threatened by intelligence in public than in private. Why? Because being outshined in front of others threatens social status, not just ego. So the thinker is shunned not for speaking, but simply for existing. In our age of social media, depth is drowned out by volume. Algorithms favor the loudest voices, not the wisest ones. Simple content wins, emotional reactions go viral, and thoughtful nuance gets ignored. This isn't new. From ancient Greece to modern science, thinkers who were ahead of their time were branded as mad, dangerous, or out of touch. Because they weren't selling comfort, they were offering truth. And truth rarely comes gift-wrapped in feel-good packaging. Here's the paradox. Human beings crave belonging more than understanding. We are hardwired for acceptance. Thousands of years ago, being cast out from the group meant death. So we learned to fit in, even if it meant lying to ourselves. Today, those instincts remain. People reject complex truths because they threaten emotional stability. They avoid deep discussions because it forces them to confront what they'd rather keep buried. This is why you're met with silence when you speak truth. It's not that people can't hear you, they don't want to. Do you stay quiet, blend in, pretend you don't see what you see? Or do you speak up, knowing the cost? Many deep thinkers choose silence, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. They've learned the hard way. Not every mind is ready, but silence doesn't have to mean surrender. If you felt isolated because of how your mind works, here's the truth. You are not the problem. You are a mind tuned to different frequencies in a world addicted to noise. So what do? Embrace solitude, not as punishment, but as creative fuel. Find your tribe. Even if they're hidden in books, art, or online communities, speak wisely. Not every truth needs to be shouted. Sometimes, the whisper is more powerful. Build bridges, simplify without dumbing down. Challenge, but with compassion. Protect your peace. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Yes, intelligence can isolate, but it also liberates. You see deeper. You feel richer. You live with a kind of awareness most people never touch. The world may not celebrate you now, but that doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. Some truths arrive early. Some minds are meant for more than applause. And while the road may be lonely, it is far from empty. You walk it with history's greatest minds, misunderstood in their time, but essential to progress. So if you feel different, detached, or even doubted, just remember, the world resists deep thinkers not because they are wrong, but because they are right too soon.